This week in SkullFace Records. Now, here's your host, President and CEO of SkullFace Records, Nick Hines.
Thanks, everybody. Thank you. Please, everyone, sit down. Ladies in the back, please put the shirts back on. Maybe later on you can take them back off, but right now, come on. And now for everyone around the world listening to SkullFace Records Radio.
Oh yeah, it's time.
It's time for the show.
Facebookers.
Hello, Facebook.
We are live in the studio tonight. Baby, the green lights are on.
The green lights are on.
It's This Week in SkullFace Records Radio.
Do I need to grab the guitar and strum out a beat?
You've been trying to grab that guitar all night long. You've been playing some.
I have, man. I'm in
up at the Hotel
like a musical radio mood.
Maybe
like,
when we get done with it, we can strum some guitars for a little bit or something, baby.
It's been so long since I've done that.
It's been a while
since I have picked up my guitar.
Well, dude, This Week in SkullFace is a look back in the last 7 days of SkullFace Records, man.
Yeah.
And, dude, we had Sin City Live.
Sin City Live.
It was the third taping.
The best one so far.
Absolutely, because I'm going to update everybody out there that isn't familiar with Sin City Live. Basically, what we're doing is we're bringing in artists that are affiliated or recorded by SkullFace Records. Mm-hmm. We're trying to shoot them the best possible way we can, and we're going to put it all together at the end and have like a DVD type thing, or maybe put it in like TV format. It's really exciting. Yeah. We did episode 1. Mm-hmm. And me and you did it by ourselves, and we fucked it up.
Yeah.
We didn't record it the right way.
Yeah.
So if you watch Dan Bowen's video sometimes, man, if you really, really watch, like Austin's a wizard, so he made it as unseenable as possible. Mm-hmm. But if you watch it, you can tell that it's kind of off a little bit.
Yeah.
As episode 2 started, we kind of caught it.
Yeah.
We had the shit show with Ashes of Atlanta, but the Zach video was great, and it's fixing to come out. Mm-hmm. And it's a gem from episode 2. Rolling back to episode 1, we had Trudy Sosby Rose in on that.
Yeah.
We're going to try to reschedule her to redo her Sin City live performance.
Yeah.
Because also that night we had Ryan the Lion and we had David Wright, mm-hmm. and they redid theirs Friday.
Yeah.
So
that's only fair.
Uh-huh. Yeah. So it's pretty neat, man.
Yeah.
And just to hit on Friday, dude, everybody that helped was awesome.
Yes.
Like, it went smooth. It went too smooth.
Yeah.
Like, we needed music a little more. Like, this is a radio station, and the only thing I thought it was missing was that as soon as we were done and we got it from this spot, there wasn't tunes going.
Right.
And I think that's going to be solved for number 4, which is going to be November 6th. Already scheduled. Brian Himes.
Oh, wow.
Shit. You already know, man.
Yeah.
If it was just him, man, it could just be him.
Right.
And he could just do songs all night long.
He was the headliner at Howlin' at the Moon.
Yeah. I can't wait. I cannot wait to have him in studio November 6th, man. That's super exciting.
Yeah, man.
Touching on you, touching on me.
Giggity. All right.
Taking it back to episode 3 that was Friday night. Mm-hmm. We started it out hot.
Yes, we did.
Coming from Ashland. Mm-hmm. Bringing the heat. Chaos.
Yes.
They was flawless.
Yes.
They were in and out like lightning. Mm-hmm. They came in, they set up, they did 2 songs that were incredible. I cannot wait to see their performance.
Yes.
It was amazing.
Yes.
So like the blink of an eye, they were gone.
Yeah. Their new single, Eats Me Away, is on our YouTube now.
Because who did a lyric video?
Of course, SkullFace Records.
Slimmer.
That's right.
Dude, and it's a banger. I love it, dude. They just they're entertaining. They're neat. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We didn't really know where to go with the video on it. You know what I'm saying? We just kind of wanted to have like a cool, fun, dark feel to it. I feel like that's what Chaos brings, is a cool, dark. I love their music, man.
Yeah, me too.
They're unbelievable acoustic too.
Yeah.
You know, but if you listen to their full recordings,
Man. Woo.
bangers.
That harmony is unreal in their songs.
We're doing, this is October 11th to the 18th.
Mm-hmm.
The new video for them released yesterday. Mm-hmm. So what's going on is it can't make it to this countdown.
Yeah.
Bet your lucky stars it's on the next one.
Bet you too.
There's no way it's not. Bet your lucky stars it might be on this month, October edition.
Yes.
That's exciting, man. I love doing the top tens.
Yeah.
It lets us know what's staying relevant, what's getting out there. It kind of lets us know who's promoting too, because basically, if you get views, there's some kind of promotion going on too.
Right.
People aren't just throwing it out there, and people are like, "Oh, I'm gonna listen." You got to connect. You got to get it out there. You got to network.
To people.
Yeah, you got to network.
Yep, that's what I've been doing recently. Is trying to network with because there's, I'm just going to go ahead and break it down. There's a Facebook group for literally everything.
Yeah.
And there are Facebook groups that are like Kentucky Musicians United, Central Kentucky Music Scene, things like that. And I joined those groups and told them about SkullFace Records Radio.
You got to weed them out, though, man. There's so many jackass.
Yeah, but
yeah, you got to take in with the good and throw out the bad. You got to weed them out.
Yep, and I've just been trying to get the word out about SkullFace, and people are digging it. Like it's really weird that the response of wow, that's genius, and I'm like, yeah, we thought so too.
Well, what we do here, man, is we have a record label. That's been around for 10 years. The birthday for the 10-year mark is January 17th. So it's coming up.
We're going to have to do something epic on that day.
But then we now use our record label to promote our musicians and promote our friends in the musician world, because we try to promote anybody who wants to be promoted, period.
Absolutely.
If they want it, we'll put it out there, man, and make sure that our listeners gets it shoved down their gizzards.
Right.
Because if it's good shit, man, we will play it and play it and play it. Because the cool thing about this place, too, is we're fans. And we're different kinds of fans.
Yeah.
There's music we both dig.
Yeah.
But, dude, we have so many different things that we don't like that makes us so broad.
Right.
That we just like all kinds of music, man. So if we dig it, we play the shit out of it. We listen to it on YouTube. We share it.
Yes,
you know what I mean?
do.
Because that's what you do to your friends.
Yep.
So, Chaos kicked ass. Got back on the road, went to Louisville to hang out with Les Paul. Which
Les
was great.
Paul Deal.
Which it was great seeing him in studio. He was an awesome dude. He was amazing.
Chaos rolls up in here with celebrities, bro.
Yeah, right. They're big time. They're awesome. And shout out to their mom, too, man. She's always entertaining and fun to have, man.
Mom is so fun,
yeah, she's
man.
always great. But as they were finishing up his stuff, man, Miss Davica came in, packing her guitar, which is the same guitar Martin and I have, just different color.
Really?
Exact same one.
Wow.
That's funny. And we got her. She got tuned up in the back, and she came out and she played 3 songs.
Drinking her, what was that? She was drinking some kind of Perrier water or some shit.
Like, I don't know. It's bullshit. It's so nasty, dude. I was wondering. She came out to the house and played a few times when I have little parties and drink too much.
Yeah.
And she never drank much, and she would stay hydrated with this Perrier. And I was like, well, that shit's got to be good.
Yeah.
So I get something, man. I get something I want to eat as I get in the car from Walmart. And I get a Perrier. I buy one, and I'm going to drink it. So I crush the food like I do when I get in the Yukon, and I go to grab that Perrier to wash it down, and I'm just like, holy shit, Jesus fucking Christ! Like, is this what's wrong with people to think that that's good? It's not good. It's like going out to a pool. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And putting it in a bottle and taking a big old, or it's got to be hot too. Like, I don't know, man. I'm not going to bitch about it too much, man. But yeah, Perrier, fuck you, man. Shit, dude. But on a good note.
Nick says it tastes like hot dog water.
Oh, dude, it's worse than that fucking shit you chugged. What was that shit you chugged? White Claw.
Oh,
tastes like
God.
White Claw.
Ugh.
It does. Now that I'm thinking about it, it tastes like non-alcoholic shitty ass. It's like O'Doul's of White Claw.
The O'Doul's of White Claw.
Tastes like fucking shit. Sorry, I said I wasn't going to dwell on it. I've been talking about it now for a minute and a half. But dude, on the flip side, Davica made a fan out of everyone that was in here.
She knocked it out of the park, dude.
A fan out of everyone, dude. We were enchanted. I know everyone was asking what was going on, and we had a huge announcement that went on. We have scheduled it. It's in the books. We are going to start the recording of Davica's EP right here, SkullFace Records Radio.
Wow, man. That's big time. You know who she reminds me of, dude?
What's that?
She reminds me of Dido.
Okay.
That chick that did the and I'm handing on.
Gotcha.
And
Gear
Skeen
Slam,
had
it's still me. I've been calling. I got your tattooed on my ball. Yeah, I could see that. She reminds me of Natalie Merchant.
Yeah.
I think I said this that night. I was like, man, I used to watch the Unplugged things, and I seen 10,000 Maniacs, and when I heard her voice, I was like, wow.
Yeah.
That's it, man. But it's more unique. It's not more unique, but it's her own style, too, because, you know, I've known her a long time, and I've heard her voice. We've conversated.
Yeah.
So I hear her when she sings.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So it's really neat, man. So she blew it out of the park.
Yeah.
She got her Sin City live. Fucking, that's going to be fabulous.
Right.
Then.
I already know where you're going.
Our boy.
Yes. Mr.
Dude,
Lochner.
Mr. Lochner. Ryan fucking Lochner played his songs. And, you know, he's always humble. He's very humble. He's always bringing it, though, man, when it's jam time and, and that energy's going and you feel something weird in the air and he's here, you can almost bet he's a part of it.
Absolutely.
He blew my fucking mind.
Yeah, he did.
I never heard him sing with so much boom. Dude.
Yep, he fucking brought it.
And
dude.
his guitar picking, his singing, the way he was animated, why he was singing. He was making some eye contact with me, man. I felt like we were kind of flirting with each other while I was doing it because it was so good, man. It was so good.
Yeah.
You know, so shout out to him. I can't not wait to him. And then, boom, I'll go ahead and announce it as well. Ryan Lochner, Ryan the Lion, is fucking recording his EP.
Yes.
Right here at SkullFace
Records, baby.
So we got a bunch of new fucking shit for you guys, man. It is the wheels here are turning.
They are.
We got a lot of shit going on the next few weeks. We got
Big
holidays
wheels
coming up.
Keep on turning.
We got Thanksgiving coming up. We got Christmas. We got New Year's. Then we got the birthdays of me and him. I think we both turned 40, and that's on like the next 3 months.
Plus, you're getting married in like 2 weeks, dude.
Dude, there's so much going on. It's an exciting time around the studio, and there's energy in the air. It's fun to be a part of all this, dude. Also, we're doing a Halloween party.
Yeah?
Saturday. Did you know this?
No, I didn't know this.
Yeah, I need you to come to Roach's house after work Saturday.
Oh, yeah.
Because I'm going to have everything here, and we're going to run karaoke and DJ.
All right.
It's a kid-based party. We're doing it for the kids.
Yeah.
SkullFace loves the kids.
SkullFace loved the kids.
SkullFace loved the kids.
And not in Hollywood's way.
No. In a good way.
Right.
So we're going to be doing that. That's going to be a lot of fun. Shit. They're just... Oh, hold up.
You got a fart or what?
No. Fucking episode 3.
Yeah.
This is what happened. I'm not even lying, dude. I'm not even lying. I'm coming all the way clean. I'm in the bathroom. Mm-hmm. I'm talking to someone, okay?
Right.
And what I say is I want to be so prepared and so ready and so presenting to these people and welcoming that we have a chance tonight to hit 4 home runs. Mm-hmm. We have a chance to have 4 artists come in this place on Friday night, shoot Sin City live.
Yes.
And everybody hit a home run.
Yes.
It fucking happened. Yep. Because David's an alien. He's just now crowned. David Wright's an alien. He comes in here and he plays like he don't have to be ready.
Right.
He don't have to warm up. It's in him. The songs that he plays are genuine. He always remembers his shit.
Yeah.
He always is fucking solid on either guitar, or if he picks up the bass, he's the best musician in the room.
Right.
When he picks up the bass, most folks are like,
Yes.
what's he doing?
Yes.
I'm honored to have him in my fucking band next to nothing. He's a bad mamma jamma.
Yeah.
And he re-recorded his because, like I said, we flubbed up on episode 1. He redid his on episode 3. It was fabulous. Big shout out to all the performers that were there Friday night. We can't thank everybody enough to, we're honored to have people want to be a part of what we're doing here.
Well, I mean, think about it, Nick. It looks like
Hang on. Okay.
I thought he had to fart again.
I was thinking about it.
But
about farting.
But no, it looks like VH1 behind the music, man. It's unreal. Like the stuff that we used to see back in the 90s, man, that we dug, like the Nirvana Unplugged in New York.
I love the 90s.
And that's kind of what Sin City Live looks like, is unplugged.
Well, that's what I
mean?
want to do. I'm saying it right here, right now. What I want to do with Next to Nothing is I want us to not do anything like Next to Nothing.
Right.
I want us to do Sin City Live, and I want all 4 of us to have acoustic guitars, and I want us all sitting around, and I want us to do a song together.
Man.
Maybe what if we did fucking that cover that Austin did?
Ooh.
The Blue Oyster Cult?
Yes.
That'd be fucking fire.
That would be fire.
I can't wait to get that. I hit him up. Yeah, I hit Austin up every day. And I hit him up this morning. I said something about something video or something. He's like, dude, I got a lot on my fucking plate. I was like, I know, sorry.
We love you, Skeen.
Yeah, man. Dude, he is a building block for this fucking place, man.
Yeah.
He teaches, he helps, he learns. But I think also what he does, man, I'm not trying to talk about him too much, but he breaks out of his shell too, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. He didn't sing much, I don't think, when we first met.
Right.
And we hung out with some stupid fucks that kind of would hurt people's feelings instead of making them feel better and make people think they can't sing very well sometimes, instead of like trying to help. Right. They just bitch, you know. Fuck them motherfuckers. That's why they're not around no more.
There's a song called "Now I Don't" by Swamped and Ashy.
Oh yeah,
that explains it perfectly.
I wrote that shit. I'll go perfectly along with that shit, man. But he broke out of his shell, man. And he did this cover song.
Yeah,
dude, I've played it once on the radio so far, but when we premiere the video, I'm predicting the number 1.
You are.
I'm predicting a number 1.
Wow.
Absolutely, man. I'm Babe Ruthing it when Skeen gets his fucking cover song video out, baby.
Oh, he's doing his own cover song video?
Yeah, I believe so, yeah.
Wow. I mean, I could help. I know he's got a lot on
Well, I
his
think he said he got an idea.
Oh, okay.
So, we discussed that. I think... coming up this next week, we got a few artists that are sending me CDs coming in, man, that want to be on. We might be debuting some good stuff. I think Thursday night we're going to try to do a Hand Nick's going to be going on. Wednesday night, we got Wednesday night's huge. This is another debut, man. I'm breaking it down to you.
Wow, you are just full of it tonight.
Wednesday night's busy.
Yeah.
You know what's going on Wednesday night?
From Parts Unknown.
And Joe for president.
What?
Absolutely, dude. We're doing back-to-back shows.
Wow.
We have Joe Lucas coming down from Paris to do Joe for president.
On a Wednesday?
On a Wednesday. We have Juicy fucking Jimmy coming in to do From Parts Unknown. He's my tag team champion partner, baby. And we have a special guest.
Yeah.
I can't name it yet because I want to make sure that it comes through. But when you guys see what indie wrestler we have to interview this week, man, it's a treat.
Wow.
From Parts Unknown.
Wow.
Coming to you Wednesday night.
With Joe Lucas helping.
Yeah, man, it's going to be fun as fuck.
That's going to be crazy.
I love having him in the studio, dude. It's always a good
Joe
time.
is a gold mine for radio. Man.
Oh, I agree.
He's got all kinds of stories.
He is. He's fabulous, dude. So beyond that, fuck it, man. Let's start this show, dude. We're doing This Week in SkullFace, October 11th through 18th. What we do is we have a YouTube page, man. People watches it. They click it. They see it. They get a view. Whoever gets the most views, we do the top 10 out of all the videos that are on there. Right now, we have 150 videos available on SkullFace Records.
That's amazing, dude. Like, we're just cranking them out.
We have 46 new songs released in 2020.
That's insane, dude. And 2020's not even over yet.
We have 32 programmings over 2 hours long.
Wow.
To be put on, that's on there that you can listen to on YouTube. Wow. We put the fucking shit out, baby.
We do.
Absolutely, man. So we're going to start this countdown, man. We got a guy. This band is one of our best friends from right up close to Cincinnati. They came down. They hung out at the bachelor party. They might be coming down to shoot a show live in here in the studio, man. Toxic Taste.
Oh, yeah.
This video, it's not its first time on the countdown, but it did get taken out, but now it's back.
I can't believe it's back.
It's back.
Wow.
Number 10, this is Shocker, Into the Night. SkullFace Records Radio.
Number 10.
Out in the night,
I can't do it. I can't do it like Danny. Man, but shout out to Danny Kerr and shout out to Fast Eddie Deck, man. Hope to see you guys soon. Hope you guys are doing good, man. This countdown is really, really tasty. You know, I look down this countdown and what I see is the most motivated people that's been in the studio for the past year.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And
so it shows. The work pays off.
You said the countdown was tasty. Is it like a McDonald's Big and Tasty? Do you remember those burgers?
I remember the Big and Tasty, but they wasn't as. I like Big and Tasty with Big Mac sauce.
My dad used to
I'm
call
a Big
them,
Macker.
My dad used to call them the Big Nasties.
Oh, he didn't like them either, huh?
He didn't, no.
Yeah. But what about, did you see Skeen and his fucking half-ass Big Mac he got?
No.
He's lucky it wasn't me. He got a fucking Big Mac, no sauce, no lettuce, it wasn't on the bun.
What?
Yeah, it was fucked up. He put it on Facebook.
Oh,
I was like,
wow.
dude, if that was me, I would have raised 6 kinds of hell. I'm a Big Mac attacker. I am, dude. I love the shit, man. I used to try to hustle when I was in Paris, and I'd be like, I want to make, like a McDouble with Big Mac sauce. Mm-hmm. And then they caught on, started charging me $1.25 for the fucking sauce.
That's ridiculous.
That's
that
bullshit.
They charge for condiments. That's just stupid.
It's bullshit.
Like they charge you, like I like mayonnaise.
And giggity.
Right. So anyway, like if I go to McDonald's and I order mayonnaise, they charge me 60 cents
That's
per
fucking
burger.
Stupid. That's fucking stupid.
Right, to put mayonnaise on it when I can go to Speedway and go in and get a handful of fucking mayonnaise for free.
So I'm gonna tell you an old school story, man. A lot of people don't know this. I went to jail for a while. I went to jail for 6 months one time. And 181 days actually, because when the judge told me I had 160 days, I said fuck, and he said 181. He gave me an extra day for saying fuck. So I'm in there, dude, and I get out for I can go and work and shit or whatever, work release or whatever the fuck it is. And when I'm at work release, I find this. I'm working at this police station in Lexington, and in this police station, they keep all their lunches in there. And there's this bag, and it's a bag of the individual packages of Hellmann's. There's like 60 of them. So I smuggle back into the jail a brown paper bag full of 50 packs of Hellmann's.
What'd you do? Put it in your ass crack?
No, I just kind of tucked it up behind my, like on my hip, kind of.
Okay.
I didn't stick nothing up my butt or nothing, man. I didn't put the Hellmann's.
When you
where
say
the sun didn't
smuggle,
shine.
you got to be clear.
Oh, believe me, there's some smuggling was going on in that mother. I wasn't smoking the joints that were coming back. Believe me, no sirree. But dude, like you don't understand. Like you would get like lunch bologna sandwiches basically, and you get a bag and you get 2 of them and you get like this little pack of mustard and that's it.
Yeah.
You have these big fucking packs of Hellmann's.
Yeah.
That's gold.
Yeah.
Dude,
that's almost as good as like a Snickers bar or a cigarette.
Yeah, it changes the whole fucking bologna sandwich.
Yeah, right.
Dude, it was unreal. It was so fucking funny though, man. I was so happy. I was like, dude, check out what, and then like there's like other people like, hey, dude, come on, man. Let me get half the Hellmann's. Let me get like, can I just get like
Bro,
a quarter?
I will trade you a Hellmann's for a cigarette.
Dude, I'll give you half my lunch and my breakfast tomorrow for a quarter pack of Hellmann's. It was fucking good, man.
That's fantastic, dude.
So, dude, all right, let's go back to the countdown. Number 9.
Number 9.
Number 9 was the artist of the month for September.
That's pretty awesome, dude.
And we've already talked about him today. He also performed on episode 3 Friday night.
Yes.
He headlined, actually. I had him come in last, baby, because I knew what to expect. I knew what was going to happen with that man.
Yep.
Number 9 is this song is actually dropped down kind of a little bit week by week. But as it's dropped down the countdown, it actually has dropped. It has moved up in the year for 2020 because you guys know 2020 is coming to a close, and that means the SkullFace Records This Week in SkullFace Top 10 for 2020. That's a fun show.
Yes.
When you do things just once a year, that's fucking fun to me, dude. I'm a stat man.
Yeah.
A stat man.
He's a stat man.
So, dude, we got a shout out right here. We got Dan Bowen. He's tuning in, baby.
Hey, Dan.
What's up, Dan? Dan, to be honest with you, you want to stay tuned into this show because if you're here in probably about 20 minutes, 25 minutes, you are all over this countdown, man. Your two songs, your two songs that have stayed at the top have been at the top for the last 3 weeks. And I'm just giving a hint, man. It ain't changed this week. At the top has you in 2 places. I'm not going to tell which one's which and what songs they are, but you got 1 and 2 already this week for the 3rd week in a row.
Awesome.
First time any artist has had the top 2 spots on lock for 3 weeks in a row. If he does it next week, it'll be a full month. It would be a full month of Dan Bowen just beating asses and taking names.
If it happens, man, he gets put into alien status.
Oh, he could become alien. He could become alien.
He could be a skullface alien.
But, man, we're going to get back. This is number 9, man. The Right Anxieties, So on Fire. SkullFace Records Radio.
Number 9.
Don't you know these birds of a feather? They're gonna isolate your kind. They will strip you of your wishes. They're gonna make your drive go blind. No, they can't see your shine through their mind's eyes. You've got to meet my kind to understand my ways. You've got to set aside your prying eyes today. Oh, today. You know there came a time they went and set the red letters aside. They stopped saving grace. They learned to read between the lines. No, they can't see your shine through their mind's eyes. You've got to meet my kind to understand our ways. You've got to set aside your prying eyes today. No, today. Now you've set my soul on fire for the last time today. 'Cause you're a million miles from stopping lights run away. And you can't break these chains. You've got to meet my kind to understand my ways. You've got to set aside your prying eyes today. Now today.
Always relieving and smoothing, listening to the right anxieties.
Now I pray for the world today.
Yeah, shout out, man.
Yeah.
We will be seeing David's coming down for the Halloween party the 24th as well.
Is he?
It's being hosted by our buddy Jason Roach.
Cool.
And like I said, we're not getting too wild. I'm not drinking or anything or drinking the tequila too much or anything, man. I'm going to be hosting some karaoke, hopefully seeing, making the night fun for everyone. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just putting smiles on people's faces.
You mean I'm going to be running the karaoke and you're going to be out socializing?
Well, maybe. Who knows? I might say about we might do a radio show. That could be
Hey,
fun.
that would be cool. That would be cool. My buddy, my buddy,
and
wherever
me.
I go, he's gonna go, my buddy. No, but my buddy Bob Menninger, who is from up in northern Kentucky. We've called him Bar Dad for years and years and years. And the reason we called him that is because he kind of treated us like his kids when we met him at the bar.
I spoke to that guy on the he was live on the show.
Was he?
Remember we talked about Bar
Oh,
Dad?
no.
Oh, that's another guy that was connected to that.
That was another guy that was connected to that.
Gotcha.
But my buddy Bob, we've called him Bar Dad for years and years and years.
B.O.B.
And anyway, that's all that I've ever referred to him to as Bar Dad.
Uh-huh.
And he sent a message just a little bit ago and said, "SkullFace is Bar Dad approved."
That's awesome, man.
Yeah, man. He digs us, man.
Well, maybe we need to send him a little T-shirt or something, man. So
Right?
So he can promote us up, man. I love promoting people.
Yeah.
But I like it when I get it back too.
It's
You know what I'm
exactly
saying? I
right.
spend most of my time trying to make everybody else smile, but it's nice when people make me smile. You know
Exactly.
what I mean? Hell yeah.
love it when people share our
So
stuff.
I'm going to be smiling huge.
Yeah. Huge.
Huge.
This is going to be huge.
So not only am I hearing wedding bells, which I don't even know how to talk about it because I'm probably just going to get emotional and cry. Because that's why I am. I'm an
Well.
emotional fucking wreck when it comes down to it.
Yeah.
But on a awesome note,
Ooh.
is flying in, styling and profiling, baby. Coming all the way from Las Vegas, Nevada
Wow.
to right here in Cynthiana, Kentucky
That's crazy.
to hang out in SkullFace Records radio studios.
Man.
He's actually, I believe, maybe gonna sleep here.
I need to deflate that mattress.
We got to, we got to deflate it and bring it here, man, and make it
Yeah.
make it nice for him, man.
Yep.
We're gonna have him in the studio.
Yeah.
We're gonna work on songs with him, dude. He literally said, and I quote,
I might as well take your something studio that you guys got the nice equipment.
Right?
yeah, you think?
Duh.
I was like, we will fucking record all night long, dude. Beyond that, Rudy Brown.
I told you, Ron, like,
We've played it. We've heard it. We're going to re-record it. We're going to be a part of the motherfucking song.
Oh, wow.
We have several other songs we're going to record with him, so when he comes down, we're going to have all kinds of shit for you guys to be listening to go out in 2020. 2020 started off with a bang. It's still fucking rocking and rolling, and that's the way we're going out of the bitch, too.
That's it.
We're not slowing down just because it's the end of the year, motherfuckers.
No way.
And believe our goddamn asses when 2021 hits, we won't be fucking rocking and rolling just as hard.
Right.
I mentioned. Go ahead, baby. What'd you say?
All of our Facebook videos in 2021 will have music behind them.
Absolutely.
You're going to hear that rolling. That's going to be a new thing in 2021. You won't just see the radio shows, but it'll be a full production. It's going to be really, really cool.
Tune in to 2021. If you guys make it there, some of you motherfuckers might die. Just keeping it real. Just keeping it real.
Jeez. That's real.
Well, don't care if people die.
Right.
And he's next in the countdown, dude. This guy's work and determination pays off. He released his first EP this year through SkullFace Records.
July 4th.
Motherfuckers. It was awesome. It was epic.
Eastern Nightmares.
Eastern fucking Nightmares, baby. You can get that. It's available right here at SkullFace Records. Also, we make shirts for him and stuff, too, if you guys want any of that kind of merch.
Yep.
He's coming in at number 8. This is
Cannibalistic death cult.
This is Left Hand Path.
Number 8.
got another announcement here
Okay.
from Dan Bowen.
Uh-oh.
Live on the show. He's announced, and we've already talked about so much production going on with our artists.
Yeah.
That haven't released albums yet. This is new.
Right.
These are new artists.
Yeah.
Coming here, baby. Mm-hmm. Dan Bowen says, I think I got like 8 or 9 new songs. Jesus.
Hopefully.
Right?
Hopefully.
Fuck yeah, bring them down, man. Dan, we are ready to have you in the studio.
Oh, yeah, bro.
We are ready to set it up in here, man, and rock and roll all night long and get it going, baby.
Yes.
Like, we are motivated.
Yes.
We are. When you get down here, when you come back, I know you need time with the mamas, giving the lovins. But when you get back, when you have time, dude, all night long, man, we will make music, we will do songs, we will record, we will do everything needed to get ourselves ready to play out and about, man. We are excited
Yes.
to be a part of what's going on with you, brother.
Yeah, man.
Like I said, man,
He's a West Virginia hidden gem, bro. Mm-hmm. Like,
I agree.
I'm so glad that we are a part of what he's doing because, like, dude, I think, and this is just me talking, I know every musician hopes for this, but I think Dan's got it, dude. Like, he gets it. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, he's a star, man.
He's a star, and it's like man, it's like he's been hidden in the hills of West Virginia so long that
SkullFace Records brought him out to play.
That's right. SkullFace Records brought him out to play,
Take over the fucking world.
and we're gonna fucking
One song at a time.
We're
or
like
9 songs at a time.
we're like what was the Step Brothers name in the Step Brothers movie? Brennan and whatever else. The dudes that did Boats and Hoes.
Boats and Hoes.
Yeah. We are kicking down the door and owning that motherfucker.
Absolutely, baby.
And I love it. I love it, man. Let's keep the momentum rocking.
I'm right there with you, man. You know how I am, man. I'm more passionate than I am smart. Mm-hmm. Like, my passion makes me dumb sometimes, man. I can't hold myself back. I want to do more and more and more.
Absolutely.
You're only on this earth once.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I can't waste my time.
Yeah. Exactly. You only get one
See what I'm
trip
saying?
around the sun.
And you don't want to see it from the side view.
Hell no. Fuck that side view.
Fuck the side view. That's a waste of time. All right, back to the countdown, dude.
Back to the countdown.
To a real band with real players that actually make records. Dude, this next band's badass. Dude, we released this album last year. It's had a resurgence. We made a video for it earlier this year. It's one of the most badass lyric videos you can find here on SkullFace Records, man, on our YouTube page. And that's what we're celebrating here. This song was actually the 2019 Song of the Year.
Wow.
No shit. And it's been in and out of this countdown countless times, man, since we've been doing it for the last 10 weeks.
Man.
This is Swamped and Ashy. This song is called Now I Don't. SkullFace Records Radio.
Number 7. Well, the spell we tell, but if we fail to fail,
element, showing all your lack of development. You see concrete, you see men, filled to be broken sediment. A token regret, letting all the wrong ones lead you around by the nose. And absolutely not a fucking thing to maintain the same state of mind, letting it kill your day. Your lack of segment, the ramp of laughter. Shit. Let's back up your pressure. You're locked up and I can't do when I don't. This next song was cool. Mm-hmm. And like I said, I've told the story before. If I've told it once, I've told it twice.
If you've told it once, you've told it 1,000 times.
Uh-huh. The first time Dan Bowen was supposed to come down, he had to cancel just due to some kind of thing was coming up. He had to come in the next week. Mm-hmm. What happened is we had musicians here ready to record with him. Mm-hmm. So we didn't go home. We stayed here and we recorded a song. We just made the shit up.
I helped produce that.
You did. You seen it happen.
I did.
You seen the Frankenstein ride.
I did.
And, dude, it's not left the countdown since it happened. So for the fourth week in a row,
That's insane.
The Psychotic Marbles.
Wow. Wait a minute. Did you just say the Psychotic Marbles?
The Psychotic Marbles. Those are the ones that go in the cat's ass and comes out real fast. Is that supposed to feel good? Like
I don't
marbles
know.
in the ass?
Maybe if you feed them some Taco Bell, they can take down a deer from 100 yards.
Man, Taco Bell sounds good, baby. Dude, this is the Psychotic Marvels. This song's called Blame. SkullFace Records Radio.
Number 5.
The Psychotic
You have to heal your selfish pride so we can get these broken to the other side. We can't seem to get the message through to these
So I think this might be one of the countdowns that we've went so long and we ain't mentioned this motherfucker's name once.
What?
So I gotta go ahead and say Ronnie Kenner.
Ronnie Kenner.
Boom, Anonymous.
No, it's because he graduated to alien status.
Right?
Well, if they're aliens, we don't talk about them very much.
It's hilarious, dude. His Sin City Live performance. We've been talking about Sin City Live. That's something that comes up in everyday conversation here at the studio. Mm-hmm. His performance was amazing. You talked to him, and he's like, "Oh, dude, I was nervous.
Yeah.
You can see I'm nervous." I was like,
Yeah.
"Shit, brother, man.
Yeah.
You kicked ass."
He did.
He really did, man. He
kicked major
shined, man.
ass.
And his Sin City Live performance, ever since it's been out.
Yeah.
So now for also 3 weeks in a row, Sin City Live Anonymous has been on the top 10 countdown. And this week, it's coming in at number 4. This is Anonymous. Oh, I Have My Ways. SkullFace Records Radio.
Number 4.
Some peoples came out tonight to join us with Sin City Live episode 2. And Ronnie, we are honored to have you up last tonight, man, and having you in here, brother, man.
It's a late night hour.
It is. We like that's not most of the time when me and you're kicking this late night hour, man. You guys are listening. You guys are listening to SkullFace Records Radio, and you guys are listening to Anonymous live in the studio.
Underneath the dream and the reflection. can see the image take shape through the fractals.
So I'm going to do a quick recap, man. You guys are listening to SkullFace Records Radio, the top 10 from October 11th to the 18th. We're at number 3 now, but I'm going to recap 10 through 4. 10, Shocker, Into the Night. 9, The Right Anxiety, So on Fire. 8, Cannibalistic Death Cult, Left Hand Path. Number 4, Swamped and Ashy, Now I Don't. Number 6, Cannibalistic Death Cult,
Mortique Regnum.
Burp. Number 5, The Psychotic Marvels, Blame. And then you guys just heard, Mr. Anonymix coming in at number 4 with Sin City Live. Oh, I Have My Ways, which is one of my newest favorite songs. He said he's going to be recording that soon, too.
He said he's already working on it.
Yeah, you never know what he does, man. Sometimes you think he's not doing anything, then he comes with like 1,000 fucking things.
Yeah, like that one episode where he played all the lost tracks of Valenian.
Right, that was fucking sweet,
That
man.
was awesome.
And, a big shout out to me and him. We do our show about every other week. Para Not Normal.
Para Not Normal.
You
which
can
has
find
2 episodes out
And
now.
Slim, tell them where you can find all of our shit, because you can
Man.
find that and all of our other shows on a whole bunch of shit. Tell them about it, Slim.
Let's see. You can find SkullFace Records Radio on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, let's see, Anchor,
Yeah.
Spotify.
Nice.
Yeah, you can listen to everything
Tell me more.
online. Like, I mean, our shows that we do don't make it to air, which is where our stream lives, until later. We're still looking for a person to do that.
We're hiring.
But yes,
We pay in pizza and pop. And popularity. Pizza, pop, and popularity.
right. But still, and once we get a person to help us with that, our shows will make it to that.
Absolutely.
Eventually. But as it stands right now, we're basically getting all of our content together.
Absolutely.
And everything is on YouTube that we've ever put out is on YouTube. And it's also going, by the end of the night tonight, it will be on Apple Podcasts, Google
Apple
Podcasts,
Podcasts.
Anchor, Spotify, whatever podcast platform you use, you'll be able to find SkullFace Records Radio. There's a few other different podcast services that we're also available on.
And we will tell you guys about that
Yeah.
later when we're naked.
Right?
Naked and happy.
Yeah.
So we're at number 3, guys.
Number 3.
We are back to one of our favorites, David Wright.
Oh, yeah.
The Right Anxiety. This song's actually debuting at the highest spot it's ever been in a countdown.
You know
it
what?
has been on a countdown before, but this is the highest spot. I don't know what up.
If we end up putting out a lyric video for that new song that's completely mastered and redone,
And we need to do that.
yeah, like if we end up putting that out, I have a feeling next week's top 10
Oh, yeah, it's
will
going to
be a competitive spot.
Wow, yeah, with Chaos, with the Right Anxieties, with Dan Bowen maintaining the top spots. Jesus.
Yeah.
Dude. No further ado, though, man. This is the Right Anxieties. This is Righteous Crowd, SkullFace Records Radio.
Number 3.
day. You got my soul on the books and my heart locked away. You said you'd give it your all, but you took the easy way out. You're letting your sin show among this righteous crowd. Among this righteous crowd. I'm traveling down this road that I walked before. I'm selling deja vu like it's your only cure. Anticipation kills my only friend. He went and drowned in his own self-righteousness. And you said you'd give it your all, but you took the easy way out. You're letting your sin show among this righteous crowd. Among this righteous crowd. Said you'd wait for me. There'd be no need to hold my breath. You'll be the death of me. I hate to see the hell they found among this righteous crowd. I knew you played this game with a little intent. You came to buy a soul that's already hell-bent. You got the power to heal your broken heart today. All the pride to walk in this mess that you made. You said you'd give it your all, but you took the easy way out. You're letting your sin show among this righteous crowd. Among this righteous crowd.
And now we're in the top 2.
We are.
I got some crazy news. Dan Bowen, are you still with us? Because Dan, we're about to play your music, man. I've already told you got the top 2 spots. You've had it for the last 3 weeks. What's happened though is it's flip-flopped to where you still haven't had consecutive same song number 1s.
Wow.
So that's still not happened.
Yeah.
But this song that's number 1 this week has been on the spot twice, and you've been at the number 1 and 2 for 3 fucking weeks.
That's insane, bro.
This should be This Week in SkullFace, Dan Bowen. Fucking rocks, dude. You're doing awesome.
Hell yeah.
So we're going to do a double shot.
Double shot.
We're going to play 2 and 1, and we're going to get out of here. We appreciate everybody that's tuned in, everybody that checks us out, man. Don't forget to like and share. Tell your friends about it, man. Comment. Let us know what you want to hear. If you want your favorite SkullFace Records song on here, get on YouTube and listen to it. Get on YouTube and share it, man. Let us know what you like, man. Number 2 this week is Dan Bowen, Fallen. Actually, and it's funny because It fallen from number 1 from last week to this week it's number 2. And then last week, this one was number 2, but it came back up into number 1 and making number 1 for the second week in a row. Dan Bowen, his Sin City live performance. Goodbye, my friend. And goodbye to all you guys, man, and thanks for tuning in. SkullFace Records Radio.
Double shot.
SkullFace Records Radio. Number 2.
This is crippling feeling, sinking oh so low. My mind is a mess, but I want you to know you are the light that shines as bright as the sun. Make all the darkness just fade away. You are the one who catches me when I'm falling. But you can't stop this, it's falling for you. I've been bottom of the bottle. I fought my demons for so long. I didn't think there was a way out. Then I saw you when there was no doubt. You are the light that shines as bright as the sun. Make all the darkness just fade away. You are the one who catches me when I'm falling. You can't stop this, 'cause I'm falling for you. I never thought no one could resurrect my heart. There you stood. You brought me back and you fixed my soul. Promise me, girl, we'll never let go. You are the light that shines as bright as the sun. Make all the darkness just fade away. You are the one who catches me when I'm falling. But you can't stop this, 'cause I'm falling for you. falling for you. I'm falling for you. I'm falling for you.
Number 1.
SkullFace Records Radio.
It all started about 15 years ago. Yeah, brother, we thought we knew what life was for. Yeah, buddy, we thought that we had it made. Well, goodbye, my friend. Well, I remember back in the day, we were chillin', smoked some haze. Now it seems that we're heading out of here, and there's only one thing for me to say. Well, goodbye, my friend. There was a time I needed you. There was a time you helped me see it through. Now it seems that you have faded away. I miss my brother, but I'm here to say goodbye, friend. Where is my brother? Where is my best friend? Where is the one I can depend on? Oh Lord, it seems that you have called him home. So goodbye, friend. There was a time I needed you. There was a time you helped me see it through. Now it seems that you have faded away. I miss my brother, but I'm here to say I miss my brother, but I'm here to say goodbye, friend. Goodbye to you, my best friend.
Welcome to Gravedigger Radio Podcast, broadcasting live from the afterlife.
Welcome to Gravedigger Radio Podcast. Today's episode, we're going to be digging into some of the true crime parts of the werewolf legends, things that we mentioned a little bit on the last episode. We're going to talk about some of the true crime stuff, some of the horror side, and some of just the generally ooky spooky tales from actual history.
Yeah, man, you keep the ooky over there to yourself. I've called this one Werewolves of Legend, not London. So, Zach, with the last episode, you kind of tapped into my wild side a little bit and inspired me to see if I could find any historical accounts of actual werewolves. And wouldn't you know it, there are quite a few. I've decided to run through several of these in chronological order. So bear with me. The first one goes back to really the mythological time in Ireland. And I'm throwing this one in a little bit just for me. Cahulan. Does that name ring a bell?
I mean, I'm trying to think. Wasn't the Tommy Boy, the auto parts, wasn't that Cahulan or Calhoun or something like that?
I don't know.
You've never seen Tommy Boy?
It's been 20 years.
Shit, that's a classic, man.
Well, Cahulan is the name of a mythical Irish hero. He's like the mythical Irish hero. And I'm going out on a limb here to make a case for him being a werewolf. I did a master's in history in my college days, focusing on medieval history. And my thesis was about the Christian conversion of pagan peoples, especially in Northern Europe and Ireland. As a part of that research, I focused a lot on reading some ancient Celtic mythology. And the foremost character in what is known as the Ulster cycle of tales is Cuchulainn. I'm not saying that perfectly correct. It's like a Cuchulainn. I'm doing the best I can. Now, that name, Cuchulainn, translates to the Hound of Cuchulainn. His given name was Setanta, but gained the name Cuchulainn after slaying a famous chieftain's guard dog. Setanta was a young boy at the time and felt remorseful to the great chief, but he had to defend himself when attacked by the famously vicious hound. Which raises my question, was he bitten in this combat?
Yeah, that's the one thing that, we talked about this last episode.
Mm-hmm.
None of the legends or anything that we came across through all the different histories and different cultures mentioned anything about becoming a werewolf via bite, which is very popular in modern media.
Right. We see that all the time now. That's like the werewolf mythology now, is you contract lycanthropy by being bitten or wounded, at least, by a werewolf, and then surviving the attack. And then next full moon comes around and poof, you're a werewolf.
Right. And I'm really curious as to where that came from, because everything we talked about last episode was, you put on a pelt or a belt.
Right.
Or different, packs with the devil.
Or an ointment.
Your magical KY jelly. But nowhere in the mythology did it mention a werewolf attack, actually, other than the Norse mythology side of things, where the sun slayed 11 men. There's not even really mentions of being attacked by a werewolf.
Yeah. We'll see. I have some histories coming up. And again, the modern mythology doesn't play out so well. Anyway, getting back to our story, this chief, Cuchulainn, was angry, of course, at Setanta because he had slain his famous fearsome beast. And he was kind of amazed that this adolescent child, was able to do such a thing. But after Setanta agreed to become his new guard dog in the animal's place, he allowed Setanta to join his band of fighting men. From that moment onward, he was known as the Hound of Cuchulainn.
See, now I'm thinking of like Game of Thrones, the Hound.
Well, yeah. That's probably where he stole that from, honest to goodness. Now, no one, maybe since the beginning of time, has claimed that Cuchulainn was a werewolf, so I may be the first. But I think I can make a case for this if you're willing to hear me out.
Lay it on me.
Okay. Well, Cuchulainn went on to become Ulster's greatest warrior and definitely the foremost mythological character in Irish folk history. He was famous for, get this, his warp spasms that he would enter into in battle. Listeners, if you want to read more, please pick up a copy of Thomas Kinsella's translation of the ancient epic Irish saga, the Toyn Bo Cooley, which translates into English as the cattle raid of Cooley.
So when you say he would go into these spasms before a battle, was he having like he'd get so excited he just had a seizure or something?
Yes. I'll read you a translation from Kinsella's work. Quote, "The first warp spasm seized Cuchulainn and made him into a monstrous thing, hideous and shapeless, unheard of. His shanks and his joints, every knuckle and angle and organ from head to foot, shook like a tree in the flood or a reed in the stream. His body made a furious twist inside his skin, so that his feet and shins switched to the rear, and his heels and calves switched to the front. On his head, the temple sinews stretched to the nape of his neck, each mighty, immense, measureless knob as big as the head of a month-old child. He sucked one eye so deep into his head that a wild crane couldn't probe onto his cheek out of the depths of his skull. The other eye fell out along his cheek. His mouth weirdly distorted, his cheek peeled back from his jaws until the gullet appeared. His lungs and his liver flapped in his mouth and throat. His lower jaw struck the upper in a lion-killing blow, and fiery flakes, large as a ram's fleece, reached his mouth from his throat. The hair of his head twisted like the tangle of a red thorn bush stuck in a gap. If a royal apple tree, with all its kingly fruit, were shaken above him, scarce an apple would reach the ground, but each would be spiked on a bristle of his hair as it stood up on his scalp with rage." That's a lot to take in.
Well, all I have to say is, what the actual fuck?
Yeah. So, according to your opinion, was due to werewolf?
I'm kind of just trying to picture this shit show creature in my head.
Imagine facing that on the battlefield.
Of like one eye sucked way back in its head, one eye hanging down on its face.
Yeah.
And like, so, but
his
honestly,
mouth all
right.
a little bad, but spasm there myself.
I was going to say, I'm terrified by that noise you just made. Well, my question is, I know, in Nordic tales, the berserker were known for consuming mushrooms before battle, and that was what kind of helped elevate them to like these beastly status.
Were they shrooming? That's how they got there?
Yeah, that was so. Like that's the bite in their shields and everything. They were on types of mushrooms. I'm inclined to ask, were the warriors around him on mushrooms? Because that's the only way you're going to conjure a creature like that.
I don't know. The ancient Celts were famed, and the Gauls as well, for fighting buck-ass naked, painting themselves up with a body paint, blue paint that you've seen like in Braveheart and all that. That was a thing.
Yeah.
They often rode around in chariots, so Cuchulainn himself probably would have had a charioteer driving him around the battlefield while he was just going buck wild, hacking on people left and right in his warp spasm form.
Yeah, so now I'm picturing that they've like duct taped two swords to a guy with epilepsy and like flash a strobe light in front of him, and he's just flailing about now at this point.
Maybe. The part about his legs reversing, because the hind legs you have of a dog, have that reverse,
kind of like anterograde kind of stance.
You're the medical guy, you tell me.
I mean, when you first told me, I was like, okay, well, he just had epilepsy and he would just get so fired up before battle that he'd basically work himself into a seizure. But I've never seen anybody do something like that having a seizure. I mean, you talk about all the joints and everything locking up and convulsing. That makes sense. But nobody's eyes have like sucked back into their head and their mouth like became a gaping maw.
The eye thing is weird, and the whole throat thing, and his mouth, and the hair with the standing on bristled ends. And
I know you've done all this great research and trying to make this like an academic kind of deep dive, but now I'm totally picturing the husband from Beetlejuice with the giant mouth and the two eyes and the like they've sucked back.
Yeah, well, we could throw that in.
That's kind of what I'm picturing, honestly.
Oh well, you could go down that road with me or not, but honestly. The Ulster cycle of tales is a great bit of epic saga history for Ireland. Kind of can't get away from it if you study Irish history at all. Good stuff. Read up on it. And, remember some madman who once said on a podcast that maybe Cuchulainn was a werewolf.
I like it, though. I mean, is that how much historical documentation is there around Cuchulainn?
Well, again, this would have been written down actually by Christian scribes, Irish Christian scribes who were interested in preserving their own mythological history.
Now, was this
would have been a tale passed down for thousands of years by word of mouth?
Okay, that was my big question there.
Yeah, in our culture, in our young country, we have things like George Washington and chopping down the cherry trees and bullshit like that.
Right,
whatever that's worth. It's kind of the same sort of thing. But it's a great series of stories if you ever want to look into it. Look into the Ulster cycle. Okay, moving ahead big time in history, a couple thousand years. And pardon my poor pronunciation of these French names and places, but I want to talk about Gilles Garnier. We'll see that a lot of these tales of true werewolves come from France and Germany. All of them are in around the 16th century. And I kind of, as I was reading these stories, I kind of had to wonder if they had some kind of paranoia going on akin to the witch craze that took over the British Isles and North America around about the same time.
Well, when I was reading through doing the research for just, the basic mythology of the werewolf, that was one of the things I came across, that there was almost like a parallel werewolf trial going on at the same time as the witch trials were going on.
Right.
And I may be misremembering, but I think it was somewhere around 30,000 people that were killed for being convicted of being a werewolf.
I wouldn't doubt that. In fact, I didn't have this in my notes, and I didn't want to go into it deeply in the podcast, but because of this case we're about to speak of, like the local magistrates were issuing orders telling people, the huntsmen and people who went kind of outside the cities into the wilds for hunting or whatever, that if they came across werewolves to slay them and bring them in. Like that was a sanctioned activity they could participate in.
Did you ever come across anything, I didn't dive into that because the research I was doing was just about the mythology, but did you ever find anything about like a test for being a werewolf?
A test? No, but they were, brought into confession by inquisitorial staff that would, torture them. and have them confess their sins and all that. I think the last case I'll speak of today, they actually asked the fellow, okay, if you're a werewolf, we'll do it. Wolf out. Let's see it. And we'll get to that in a minute about how that played out. But that's as far as I could get as like anyone actually being tested.
Because see, all I can think of now, though, is the scene from Monty Python, The Holy Grail, where it's like, she's a witch, so we burn her.
Right.
And it's like, if she weighs the same as a duck, she's a witch. If this man weighs the same as a chihuahua, he's a werewolf.
I know. Yeah, I keep looking into these things, and I'm thinking, these Monty Python guys were just kind of riffing on real history. Like, they weren't far off.
Right. No, they weren't.
Some of the crazy stuff. And, as a historian, I don't want to belittle these people and the beliefs they had at the times. They were dealing with what they knew. They were dealing with the science they had to try to explain crazy stuff in their natural environment. So, if I had been born in 1570 France, I probably would have thought the same things.
Yeah.
We're no better than they are. They were working with what they had at the time to try to explain crazy stuff that they came across.
Yeah, but it's still fucking hilarious, some of the tests they came up with and everything.
Yeah, but it's dangerous because, 500 years from now, they'll be looking at us and being like, oh my God, what a bunch of morons.
Right. No, I mean, you're absolutely right. And that's the one thing that we try to always do with this podcast is to judge things based on the time that we're viewing them. We do try to be good historians with the information that we present and judge it based on that exact time period. Because, I mean, obviously hindsight's always 20/20.
Right. And we enjoy the stories and we enjoy the tales, and we try to present them in an entertaining fashion. But I don't ever want to talk down about people and their life experiences from the past.
That's what I'm here for.
Sure. Let's talk more about Gilles. Gilles was a hermit living in the Franche-Comté region of eastern France who was active outside the town of Dole. And this account, Zachary, is particularly good, as we have a surviving, contemporary, primary historical account from 1574 of his arrest and trial at court in Dole.
Well, hot damn, do I need to put some newspaper down underneath if you're as excited as you are about that?
This is the sort of thing that historians get all hot and bothered about. I also found a recent academic paper by archaeologists Luc Gicotti and Brigitte Rochandelet, who excavated Giles's hermitage at a place known as Saint Bonneau. They did not find any grisly remains.
This is not the same Bono from U2, right?
No, this is Bonnot.
Oh, okay, just making sure.
Bono.
Okay, just making sure.
Yeah. Now, they did not find any grisly remains from a werewolf's den, however, but some pottery shards and sunken wall foundations, the sort of stuff that gets archaeologists all hot and bothered. But regardless, this all adds up to a well-documented case, historically speaking. So you may ask, what was Gilles up to?
So, Jason, what was Gilles up to?
Basically eating children.
Oh, well, shit, that's not good.
So, listeners, beware. I know you're big-time fans of our podcast, but you may want to switch this one off if you can't handle a little bit of the grisly, gory underbelly of history.
But if you make it through, you get a gold star.
Right. So from here on out, it gets pretty daggum gruesome. And apparently, these sorts of gore-filled stories were all the rage back in the day, and the writers of these accounts took great delight in capturing every last drop of blood and viscera. So, gird your loins, and let's continue.
My loins are girded. Please continue.
We'll give a 3-second girding of the loins check. Okay, if you're still here, you're in for the haul. Gilles and his wife, Apolline, moved away from society into a hermitage in the nearby woods. A little bit unsure as to why, but they were obviously quite poor. Gilles struggled to feed his family, and in 1572, he took his first victim, a young girl of about 10, whom he devoured the arms and legs of before he lovingly took the remaining flesh back to his wife and kids to share.
Well, that was sweet. Kind of like a to-go box kind of thing.
I'm thinking, hey, honey, what's for dinner? Oh, I don't know. I'll figure something out.
Hamburger helper.
Oh, God. Gilles always targeted children, both young boys and girls, and almost always ate some of them on the spot before taking home the rest. He preyed on several children this way before he got a little bit sloppy and was spotted by some local men who chased him down and apprehended him, and they also witnessed his transformation from wolf back into man. During his confession, which included torture at the hands of inquisitors, he confessed everything. Gilles had learned to become a werewolf when he encountered a specter one night in the woods. The figure told Gilles that he could help him become a more efficient, a better hunter, and presented him with an ointment. The ointment was how Gilles could transform into a wolf and prowl the woods. In the end, he confessed to 4 child murders, cannibalism, witchcraft, and tax evasion.
Well, fuck me dead. What about the tax evasion part?
Oh, I thought I'd get you there. My sweet summer child, there was no tax evasion. I just threw that in there to see if I could trip you up a little bit.
I'm kind of disappointed because I really wanted that to be there. Just tack that on.
I thought it worked because he buggered off to live in the woods, right?
That makes sense.
So they were like, oh, he's not paying his taxes for the woods and education. No tax evasion. Gilles was burned alive at the stake in 1574, accused of being a loup-garou, which is French for wolfman.
Which I'm really curious as to how, I know we talked about it last time, is how loup-garou became roux-garou.
It's obviously some kind of a vernacularization of probably the French term for wolfman.
And I'm wondering too, though, if maybe that it became more popularized through Cajun French legend, or maybe even Canadian French legend.
Yeah,
as those things were coming over from France, loup-garou to roux-garou
it's too close not to be some kind of bastardization of the original French.
Especially you throw in like a Creole Cajun accent,
right?
Loup becomes roux very fast.
Yeah, and it's easier to say.
Yeah,
which is a lot of reason why things change that way.
And it sounds more fun.
Yeah, I mean, you knew some Japanese. We both spent some time in Japan. So how many other words would change phonetically just because it was easier?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, moving on. Werewolf number 3 on our list. Zach, do you recall the most famous werewolf of all?
It couldn't be Peter Stube, could it?
Sing it with me. Peter Stube.
Yes.
Also known as Peter Stump with 2 P's, or Peter Stumpf with an F at the end. Okay, this is clearly a German.
A German, yeah.
This information comes from The Damnable Life and Death of Stube Peter, published in London. Here we go with the London connection again. They must be really hot on werewolves over there.
I mean, werewolf in London, duh.
Yeah, I whatever. Anyway, published in London in 1590 by George Bors. According to The Damnable Life, and I quote, a true discourse, declaring the damnable life and death of one Stube Peter, a most wicked sorcerer, who in the likeness of a wolf committed many murders, continuing this devilish practice 25 years, killing and devouring men, women, and children, who for the same fact was taken and executed the 31st of October, last past, in the town of Bedburg, near the city of Cologne in Germany. 31st of October.
Yeah, I know. How perfect is that? And I mean, I think he kind of, I hate to say this, but there is kind of the trend of they start by preying upon kids.
Yeah.
I know with Peter Stube, it was mostly just kind of kids like by the roadside. He was like, hey, come help me with this thing that I've got. And then they would kind of bugger off into the tree line or the bushes or whatever. And he would just eat them. He would just eat them right there.
In the immortal words of Ron Burgundy, this escalated quickly.
Yeah. I mean, it really did. And that was the thing he really didn't have much rhyme or reason to how he picked his victims. He was definitely a killer of opportunity.
He got there. Let me go back to The Damnable Life and keep reading. Either way, he had about a 25-year run of vicious carnage for old Peter. And it's hard to catch him because, right, he could transform himself into the disguise of a wolf. And that was his ingenious plan all along. Because you see, Peter was already a rotten, no good SOB to begin with. So the devil decided to appear to himself in person. Good old Satan. And he asked Peter what gift that he might ask of him. And Peter, quote, requested that at his pleasure he might work his malice upon men, women, and children, that same old cadence, men, women, and children, in the shape of some beast, whereby he might live without dread of danger or life, and unknown to be the executor of any enterprise which he meant to commit. So basically, he wanted to get away with murder, rampant murder.
Yeah. Did you ever find out why he was just a miserable asshole?
A psychopath, sociopath.
I mean, yeah. Especially at that time with mental health being so poorly understood.
Yeah.
Kind of reading through, I believe there was some evidence to suggest that he was actually a schizophrenic as well. And, that was kind of where, and definitely I'm a big proponent of mental health, not trying to to malign anybody with schizophrenia.
Right.
But I think there was some evidence of schizophrenia, and that was where the idea, this isn't me doing these things. I've been gifted by the devil. I've spoken with the devil, and he's given me the gift to do this. So now I can, kind of thing.
Very well could be. After this, Satan then fashioned for Peter a girdle that he could take on and off, transforming him into a massive wolf. So when he was done with killing things, he could slip it off again and go right back to his day job.
Going back to the first part of this, with the girdle, I just picture somebody just throwing it on and out there running around on all fours.
Yeah.
Thinking that everyone else perceives them as being a wolf. And everybody's just like, the fuck is that? What is he doing?
Well, apparently not only would he transform back and forth at will, but then he would kind of go out around town knowing he had committed these horrendous murders, like speak to the families or tip his cap to the ladies of whose husbands he had just devoured and just be a real jerk about it. And like almost like flaunt his ability to murder at will and not be caught.
I do, I mean, we're not a true crime podcast here, but I do wonder how he evaded being caught so much. Because I almost picture, like, just the way his sheer brazenness being. You remember the old cartoons, like when the cat would eat the bird and it would like burp and like a feather would come out?
Right.
Like that's exactly what I'm picturing with this guy.
That's literally him. Yeah. Like wiping the blood off his mouth and being like, I haven't seen your husband around lately, man.
Yeah. Got something in my teeth here. Oh, wait, it's part of his, his skin.
Yeah. So what pleasures did Peter get into? In short, everything you can imagine. At first, he was content to murder those that he fell out with, like the local men who he feuded with, kind of began disappearing if they wandered too far from the town. And taking a liking to grisly murder, he began to kill at will, taking anyone who he chanced upon in the fields for sport. Next, he descended into pursuing his more carnal desires and began assaulting young women. And after having his way with them, killing them after his lust was satiated. Peter was also fond of mutilating pregnant women, as he found their unborn children particularly delectable.
Oh, man, human veal.
I warned you all right?
Oh, God, that's awful.
Listen, I'm just reading from the damnable life and history of Peter Stu.
Yeah,
so
no kidding.
Don't throw me under the bus. Needless to say, Satan was getting a pretty nice return on his investment.
Yeah, for certain.
The devil then presented him with a beautiful wife named Catherine, who not only became his lover, but also his accomplice in all this murder and rape. Worst of all, though, she was the town gossip.
So do you think that, her being the town gossip, do you think actually kind of helped Peter Stube in a sense? Like she could spread misinformation to kind of help keep him from being the people looking at them, if she's known as a town gossip, people go to her.
In like national security studies, you would call that like a disinformation campaign.
Exactly. She's a disinformation agent.
At some point, Peter also had a daughter, Belle, whose grace and beauty was unrivaled. So naturally, he grew to lust for her as well and began committing incest with her.
Oh, great.
Yeah. Other than that, he also produced a son who was reputed to be a fine, beautiful, comely, innocent boy, who Peter then took for a walk in the woods, bit open his skull, and slurped up his brains.
I mean, if that is remotely true, I'm actually very surprised by that, because that is a shit ton of bite force to be able to bite open somebody's skull.
Well, he was empowered by the devil.
Well, I mean, but to get his mouth around the skull to actually bite it open would be just kind of insanity. And, I'm probably going to get in trouble for this information. But that's why if you go to hide a body, everybody's like, oh, I'm going to, drop a body at a pig farm. You have to break the skull because the kids.
What kind of kids?
Because the pigs cannot get their mouth around the human head to actually chew it up.
Right. So the skull is like the thickest, most dense bone density in our body.
Yeah.
Okay. Again, you're the medical guy, so you tell me.
And well, I don't know if it's necessarily the most dense, but it's just the shape of it. It would be hard for an animal to get its mouth all the way around it to actually crack it.
Oh, okay. I see. Just because it's too big.
It's just that dome shape. That's what, like pigs can't eat a human skull because they just can't fit their mouth around it to actually chew on it.
Crack it open.
Yeah.
Okay. A good bit of information there, Zachary. Thank you.
Yeah, I was going to say, I cannot confirm or deny how I know that information.
Okay, so these events went on for years, and the community was absolutely terrified to leave town or tend their herds in the fields. Men began forming parties and would patrol the area regularly with hunting dogs. They at last cornered Peter in wolf form in 1589. When he knew he was trapped, he slipped off the girdle and stood upright as a man, thinking he'd confuse his pursuers.
Was he up there trying to seduce them? Like he slips off his girdle like, hey.
Oh, I'm not a wolf at all. I'm just a regular Joe out here doing stuff. Of course, the men were keen-eyed hunters, and they saw him transform, and they testified as eyewitnesses against him. So they captured him and brought him to justice. Again, reading from the Damnable Life. After he had some space been imprisoned, the magistrates found out through due examination of the matter that his daughter, Stube Bell, and his gossip, Catherine Trompen, were both accessory to diverse murders committed, who for the same, as also for their lewd life otherwise committed, was arraigned, and with Stube Peter condemned, and their several judgments pronounced the 28th of October, 1589.
So this family is kind of like the Firefly clan from, House of a Thousand Corpses and the Devil's Rejects and everything. To where
They're all in on it.
To where the whole family's just monsters. I wonder why he killed the son then. I wonder if he's had some aversion to the killings.
I don't know. I mean, in his sick mind, maybe he thought the son was some kind of threat to his patriarchy. Maybe his son would start getting with the hot daughter. Some Eastern Kentucky stuff right here.
I mean, seriously though, that's a valid point right there, is that he's worried that the son is going to be horning in on his action.
Yeah, I don't know, just pure speculation.
It's disgusting to think about, but I mean, it's a valid question. I think
we go to some dark places on the podcast, but such is the human psyche, especially an extremely sick one like this guy. Okay, where was I? So on the 28th of October, 1589. That is to say, Stu Peter, as principal malefactor, was judged first to have his body laid on a wheel and with red-hot burning pincers in 10 several places to have the flesh pulled off from the bones. After that, his legs and arms to be broken with a wooden axe or hatchet. Afterward, to have his head struck from his body. Then, to have his carcass burned to ashes.
So was it the wheel kind of like the breaker's wheel to where it would like break your bones and everything? Or was it just supposed to like he go over these hot pokers as it kind of went around?
I think so. We have some woodcuts. It was kind of an art form in the 16th century of these artistic depictions of events. And we have existing woodcuts of his life and torture. And it looks like he's strapped to a large, almost like wagon wheel type device. And I don't know if this was like rotated almost as if like a pig on a spigot and kind of spinned over hot coals to roast him as they tortured him. But he was strapped to this thing, and it was man-sized, so he could be flayed out properly.
The worst Ferris wheel of them all.
Yeah, and rotated around as they took their turns torturing him to death. The good news is that his daughter Belle and his wife Gossip, Catherine, got off much easier. They only got being burned to death, burned to ashes as their sentence. And these executions took place on the 31st of October, in the year of our Lord, 1589. The media of the time ran with this. As I mentioned, the woodcuts were popular, and the written history of it also was circulated around Europe. So this was an extremely well-known case. The sensational media of its time. I'll be sure to post some of the images on our Facebook page. So, dear listeners, please go there if you want to see the woodcuts, and I'll maybe even try to get a few pictures of the historical account put up there if that's possible.
Now, when you say a woodcut, I'm assuming you mean it would just like the equivalent of a photograph, essentially, to where they would just carve these events into wood.
The one I have, it's carved into wood, and then it can be used almost for printing as like a relief, right? So you could dip it in ink and then stamp it.
Okay. These
still exist, and you have a lot of this stuff from the period, not only the Peter Stube case, but a lot of like werewolf cases were depicted in this manner, and it was sort of their print journalism medium of the time. Honestly, an astonishing amount of this exists that you can look at today. And the Peter Stube, it kind of represents his entire life story. Like you've got the early crimes, and then the escalation, and then the hunt for the werewolf that was loose in this area, and then his capture and his torture at the hands of his inquisitors. So it's kind of almost like comic book form. Like it doesn't have panels, but it's like this progression of visual media that it starts early on and then progresses throughout the story until his execution, which is the highlight, of course. So that's the lion's share of the woodcut of him on this wheel being ripped to pieces, then hacked to pieces, and then burned alive.
It's crazy to me to think, as somebody who does a lot of artwork myself and does some wood burning, the amount of time somebody took to make these things and make these recreations of this event.
Yeah, I guess you got to deal with like the mediums available to you at the moment. Yeah. Okay, the last werewolf case that I wanted to highlight comes to us much more recently, because I didn't want to spend all my time in the 16th century, because you totally could. You could do a podcast that just dealt with like 16th and 17th century werewolf and witchcraft cases.
Oh, yeah, because, like we mentioned earlier, the trials were so prolific.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I'm wondering as to why we know so much about the witch trials.
Yeah.
But I didn't even know anything about werewolf trials until researching this topic.
Right. And it seems to be kind of centered in Germany and France. Whereas we're much more recipients of like British Isles, in Western European culture. So we had the witch thing going on that caught our attention. But at the same time, like simultaneously, the werewolf trials were going on and people were actively out hunting for these creatures.
I wonder what was going on during that time period to where there was so much religious persecution, essentially. Because, all this does have a tie to religion in a sense that spawn these witch hunts, these werewolf hunts, those kinds of things.
Yeah. And again, I don't want to speak down on like people in history, but we have our own paranoias today that we act crazy about.
Oh, for sure.
So let's not delude ourselves and think that there's so much more enlightened than these people from 400 or 500 years ago. But it was kind of a mass hysteria, a paranoia that was rampant in the culture. And, at the time, they didn't have our modern science to explain things. And they didn't have the modern psychology that would explain psychopaths, sociopaths, serial killers. That's a very modern term. Within our lifetime, serial killers have come to be recognized as a thing.
I don't think the term serial killer was even used until like the 1960s, 1970s.
Right.
I think it was coined because of Ted Bundy.
Right. The FBI coined the term, and they brought in an academic psychologist to research like who these people are that perform these repeated killings over and over and why they did it. The history of like psychological profiling is very recent, 70s and 80s.
The TV show Mindhunter.
Right. It's exactly about the history of how that was developed. The two FBI agents, kind of like a young whippersnapper and then an old grizzled veteran who was all kind of skeptical. But then they brought in a psychologist in the show. She's named Dr. Carr.
Hey.
But I don't think that was her real name, to help them develop the theory. And they brought her in. And again, it was very against the grain in the FBI of the 60s and 70s to bring in an academic type, because it's kind of like the other end of like the political spectrum. But she was doing research on this exact topic. And so they've got all their minds together and finally developed the idea of the serial killer and someone who repeatedly kills for whatever reason, and how to track them so that they could like track these people all across the United States and see similarities in the way they would kill and the why they would kill, and then begin to develop a way to track them down and bring them to justice.
Well, and not to go too much down a true crime rabbit hole and get too off topic here, but talking about, why so many serial killers went unapprehended was because, like I said, before the 70s in the Ted Bundy case, police departments and jurisdictions did not share information.
That too.
There was it was almost like competition between the different groups and the different police departments.
Right.
You would kill somebody in one state, and then a killer that knew what they were doing would go to another state, and it would be considered two completely separate incidences.
Right.
And the two groups would not talk to one another. And it's like, they wouldn't track information.
And there's some, human failures in that too, because you would want to defend your turf and research your cases. I wouldn't want somebody to take my work from me. Even the mundane bull crap I get into at the university on the day to day, it's mine.
Right, exactly.
And I know how to do it, and I'm going to do it the right way.
And that was the big problem with it. And that's why like I said, a lot of people didn't, they weren't captured.
Right. And so back in this day, they didn't even have that. They hadn't even gotten that far. They didn't even know what a serial killer was.
There wasn't even the idea of like a database or records or anything. They were all treated as isolated, one-time incidences.
And they didn't understand that these things were like psychological issues. Again, a lot of these explanations we've run across have been because of the devil.
Right. Yeah. And that was
that's entirely wrong, because how do you really explain a sociopath to our modern mind? Like, we can't cope with that.
Right.
If you want to really give yourself a mind job, there's a great book I read probably about 10 years ago called The Sociopath Next Door, written by a psychologist. And she explains that, about 1 out of every 20, about 5% of the general population is a legit sociopath. They're great social chameleons, so you don't know they're there. So next time you're in the office, Monday morning, you're hanging out by the water cooler or whatever it is you do in your daily, look around, count to 20, and realize that probably one of those people ain't right.
And if everyone else checks out, the sociopath is you.
It could be you, and you might not know it.
Yeah.
And most of them are so adept at mimicking appropriate social behavior and blending in. And of course, most of them don't go to the point where they're like described as a werewolf who's feeding on children. Most of them just blend in and go about their normal lives and don't act out in any way, but they don't have the same way of interacting with reality as we do.
And to be fair, most people in positions of power, like most very successful businessmen and politicians,
yes,
are sociopaths, like textbook.
Right. And again, we're talking about a spectrum, so it's like more or less sociopathic, but you are correct. The people that often ascend to amass a great deal of wealth or power in this lifetime have those kind of cutthroat practices, and they don't even know it's wrong.
Right. It doesn't even resonate to them that what they're doing is not acceptable.
Right. They don't feel the remorse or the guilt that would go along with eating a 10-year-old girl's legs.
Yeah. And, we can't say for certain that the people in these positions of power don't do that.
But well, I'm not willing to go there, but that's the case. If you want to go down that road, by all means, the internet is open and available. I'm just saying that I kind of want to excuse the people in the history that come up with maybe outlandish to our ears and our sensibilities, these outlandish experiences. That's just their way of dealing with it, and we've not gotten that much farther. Let's go ahead to our last werewolf on the list, and I'm going to be speaking about Manuel Blanco Romasanta, and this person is recognized as Spain's first acknowledged serial killer.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah. So if you find, and there have been some movies made about him, probably in Spain, so you may have to dive deep to find those. And Manuel's story is quite strange. His birth in 1809 was very difficult, and he barely survived. He was so small and misshapen that the doctors doubted his survival and misgendered him. He was raised as a girl for the first 6 years of his life, and he never quite fully developed and remained small and effeminate for the rest of his life. The estimations say that he was probably between 4 foot 6 inches and 4'11".
Okay, so little bitty tiny guy.
Yeah, kind of a diminutive person.
Yeah, it's always the little people, man.
You think he had a Napoleon complex?
Yeah, he might have.
I don't know. He did marry, actually, later in life, but his wife passed away in 1833. And after that, it starts to get a little weird. After the passing of his wife, Manuel began a strange new life for himself. He began working as a traveling salesman and as a guide through the mountainous regions of Castile, Asturias, and Cantabria. I'm not familiar. Hey, I'm not even sure that I pronounced all that correctly, but the mountainous regions of Spain. And it was then that the killings began. He'd lure his victims into the mountains, posing as his travel guide. I can get you through safely. But then he would slaughter them in secrecy. He also then forged letters back to their relatives to cover his tracks.
Well, I mean, this guy's, he's the size of a large raccoon. Of course he can squeeze through like whatever bullshit mountain paths he's going through.
Yeah. It kind of surprises me that he was able to carry out these murders. But I mean, again, if you catch someone unawares, in a vulnerable state, maybe even camping out for the night, you could do whatever.
Yeah.
So if he had the mind to commit these grisly murders, then he could definitely do so when he had them at the disadvantage of being up in the mountains at night. In total, he is believed to have murdered about 13 people in this manner. The remains that were linked to his murders were always horribly mutilated and difficult to identify even by close family members. Manuel was eventually caught because he kept the clothes and possessions from his victims and tried to resell them.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Really doubling down on his criminal enterprise there, isn't he?
Oh, my sweet summer child. It gets so much worse. He also sold soap.
Oh, no. Did he make the soap out of the bodies?
I love you, Zach.
He did, didn't he? Oh, no.
Now, mind you, dear listeners, I do not share my notes with Zach before the podcast because I like to catch his raw reaction. So, yes.
Oh, no.
He boiled the fatty tissues down from his victims, created soap, and then sold them. So imagine you're a poor person in some market in Castile, Asturias, or Cantabria, and you're buying soap from Manuel.
Please tell me he called his business Bath and Body Works.
Bed Bath and Beyond?
Dead Bath and Beyond.
I think this is officially a point that the podcast officially went to hell.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this is verified. This isn't mythological information. This isn't current local urban myth kind of stuff. This was verified that he was cooking them down into soap.
If Jeffrey Dahmer was a hipster, making his own soap, it'd be this guy right here.
Hey, it's all natural.
Is it good for the body? I mean, it'd have to be.
Your body, perhaps not theirs, but it's good for your body. Oh boy. And anyway, it was during his trial in 1853 that Manuel confessed to being a werewolf.
I mean, at that point, fuck it, why not?
Well, apparently this kind of worked out for him.
Okay.
He openly admitted to the killings. Hey, man, you know what? I was totally like werewolfed out. And claimed that it's, therefore he was not truly responsible because he was under a curse.
He tried to use an insanity plea, essentially.
Yes.
Huh.
He was under a curse, at least, that transformed him into a wolf. He had chanced upon 2 other werewolves in the mountains named Antonio and Don. I shouldn't be laughing, right? I'm not totally like on the highway to hell for this.
I mean,
but
as hard as it is to meet people nowadays, even, what are the odds that you're going to meet 2 other werewolves? Did they have like Werewolf Grinder back then, and they're just like out there hooking up in the mountains somewhere?
Again, I have to ask my younger colleague here, what's Grinder?
It's a I don't want to say hookup app. It's like a dating app.
Okay,
kind of like Tinder,
okay,
but for like the LGBT community.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you have to throw a W in there because they were werewolves, and he claimed that they afflicted him with this curse. So now we're up into curse territory, right? Before we had ointments, we had girdles, and now we've got a straight-on curse.
Curse, okay.
But still no disease. And so that they began hanging out in the mountains, and when they were hungry, hey, they just eat people.
Just have a snack.
Right. So to prove this, the court kind of called him out on his story, and they're like, right, so you're a werewolf, so whip it out. Let's see it, like transform, like prove it. The man will explain that it didn't work that way. The curse lasted only... How many years do you think, Zach, just off the top of your head, how many years do you think that you were cursed with werewolfism?
Well,
you can think of a number.
Given every number that's come up in this podcast so far, I'm going to go with 7.
How about 13?
Oh, damn it, 13.
Yeah. So Manuel could not wolf out in court on command because the curse lasted 13 years, and wouldn't you know it, it expired 2 weeks before his trial.
I'll be damned. How convenient.
Yep. At the end of the day, Manuel Romasanta was convicted for only 9 killings after the other 4 were blamed on actual wolves.
So the Antonio and Don, were they ever brought to trial or anything?
Oh, we don't know anything more about Antonio and Don.
Is there any reason to believe that these guys even existed?
No. He could have been making this out of whole cloth right there on the stand, during his court case.
Kind of spread the killings out a little bit and be like, no, it wasn't me. I was doing this.
I'm the victim.
Exactly. I was forced to do these things by these other 2 people in the mountains.
Right. So after hearing all that, he went down for the 9 killings, and his execution was sentenced to be carried out by garrote.
I've never heard of a execution by garrote.
Garroting. Yeah, I mean, usually you hear like an assassin whipping a garrote and like sneak up behind you and choke you out,
and for
like a wire around your neck kind of thing.
Yeah, for people that don't know what a garrote is, it was typically like a piece of piano wire in between 2 wooden handles, and it was a device used for strangulation.
Yeah.
But, you hear about the guillotine all the time at that time, the headsman's axe.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't ever really hear about garrote as a form of execution.
Yeah, it's a thing. And again, in my journeys across the internet, which I don't recommend going down that road, the reason you listen to this podcast is so we can get weird and sick on your behalf, and you don't have to do it yourself. But they would also, they had a thing where they would strap you into a chair, and they would shackle you, around the ankles and around the wrist. You're sitting in the chair, and they would have an iron device around your neck they could tighten until eventually they either just straight out broke your neck or just suffocated you out.
Yeah.
And so that was Manuel's fate. However, his bizarre defense did lead to a stale of his execution twice. The Spanish Minister of Justice took his case, because it was so bizarre, to Queen Isabella II, who personally commuted his death sentence.
No shit. So it went all the way kind of, I guess, at that time to the top.
All the way to the top. Queen Isabella II. And there's also a physician, a psychiatrist, an early psychiatrist, I believe, named Dr. Phillips, who wanted to keep this fella alive for research purposes. And he believed that he could cure Manuel from his werewolfism / lycanthropy through hypnosis.
Which at that time, I guess, was hypnosis kind of getting more traction as a form, or had it been around for a while?
I can't say about Spain in the mid 19th century, but all that stuff was really taken off in Western Europe at large and the United States. Mesmerism, hypnotism, all that kind of garbage. was kind of a thing. So this guy may have been practicing some, sideline, but maybe legit medicine for his time.
And sorry, what time period did you say that this was occurring in?
This was, 1853.
Which is interesting because you remember our first episode, The Bell Witch, it speaks of mesmerism. So it shows how the potential for mesmerism was showing up in all these different places, and it's kind of spreading it. I know information was still traveling fairly okay, but not nearly like it is now.
Sure.
But for mesmerism to be popping up in multiple areas around that time period kind of gives some credence to the foothold it had.
Yeah, it was edgy science at the time, but it was a thing. So this Dr. Phillips tried to cure him with mesmerism and hypnotism, but unfortunately, Emmanuel died soon after in prison. He was imprisoned and kept alive. He was not executed at the time, but died soon after. It's a conspiracy theory that people probably took him out in prison because of his heinous crimes and because he was such a weirdo. But there's no official record of how he died, simply that he died in prison. Jeffrey Epstein.
Right. And that's the thing for me too, is as weird as this guy was on the outside, you can only imagine how weird he was in captivity.
Well, plus, the other prisoners would have, this was a sensational trial for its time. Spain's first serial killer, dude claims to be a werewolf, murdered all these hapless victims up in the woods and mutilated their bodies, maybe fed on them.
Made them into soap.
The 4 murders he got off from were maybe couldn't be argued they were human because you could argue they were, destroyed by animals. But the other ones, the other 9 he went down for were clearly manufactured. They were clearly man-made wounds and corpses that had been, I'm struggling for language here, but, processed by human hands in their mutilation, death, dismemberment, and so on. Now, the court case was over 2,000 pages in length, collected into 5 volumes, and entitled, in Spanish, Lycanthropia. We come full circle.
Yeah, I know we're back to the origins and everything. I wonder if that was, as far as, I guess in that time period, that was probably not the first time lycanthropy was officially given a name, but
right. As we saw in the previous episode leading up to this one, lycanthropy is an ancient term. It's gone around, whether it's a curse or a disease or some act that you willingly participate in through some magical device. The term is known, and so they knowingly in 1853, named this court case Lycanthropia.
But it's really interesting to see. I guess even at that time there was still quite a bit of mingling between magic and the actual state. Mm-hmm. But for them to actually write down this case in official court records,
right,
as being lycanthropy, is pretty fascinating. It's a pretty big deal.
Yeah, and we're talking 1853. That's not that long ago.
No, relatively speaking, no, it's not.
That's recent as, the lead up to the Civil War in the United States and the policy, developed by Henry Clay in here in Kentucky that, each state would be slave and then we'd have a free one. And then we'd have, the Great Compromise and all that stuff. This is as recently as that, actually a little bit later, 3 years later than that. So we're talking about stuff that's recent history, looking at the scope of things.
It's kind of fascinating when you think about it like that. 'Cause when I hear these tales, I'm thinking 1600s, kind of like some Peter Stube era. But it's wild to think that stuff was occurring really even, like you said, not that long ago.
Right. Well, these old folk beliefs, they carry on much longer than you would care to think of in the rural places like this. Again, he was operating in the mountainous zones. His job, or the job that he took on at least, was helping people get through these wild areas. So Lord knows what they believed in those places. Look at Appalachia today, right? We still have plenty of folk stuff going on there. So it's not surprising at all that this is as recent as 1853. And again, speaking back to the first episode where how do you define what a werewolf is, I still believe that this was people's attempts going backwards in time to try to explain incidents that they couldn't wrap their minds around. They couldn't get their heads around the idea that somebody would murder and feed on children.
Yeah, severely sick individuals.
Yeah, sure. I can't deal with that right now. Sitting here talking to you about it, I'm like, what the?
Yeah, what has to be wired so poorly in your brain?
Right, and that can't be something of this world, can it?
I don't know.
Can people reach such a state of depravity and brokenness that they would eat children?
I fully believe so.
Well,
I mean,
scientifically, yes.
Yeah.
We know that now, that's a thing. You can actually get that far along. But, in the 16th, 17th, 18th, 19th century, that was a hard concept. And even now we wrestle with it when we know that, okay, there's enough evidence to show that people can get that sick.
I mean, you look at Elizabeth Bathory, which we'll do another episode on that.
Yeah.
I mean, she bathed in the blood of children.
Right.
So if she was going
to prolong her life, right?
Yeah.
That was the thing.
So, I mean, this isn't even that big of a step from that.
Yeah. And these guys at least were just hungry. But anyway, if you think about werewolves, you think about it's this crazy mythology from Western Europe that's just mind-bogglingly stupid to our modern eyes. But if you try to break it out and then drill down and really think about it, it's just people trying to deal with horrendous crimes and how people can get to such a bizarre state that they would perpetrate these horrendous crimes and trying to assign names for it. I mean, in modern days, maybe we say things like road rage.
Yeah, I think this is significantly worse than road rage, though.
Oh, absolutely. But you've seen those videos on YouTube, right? Where people they have a psychotic break.
Yeah.
And they absolutely will do anything in that moment. They'll endanger themselves. They'll endanger anyone around them because they're so out of their daggum mind.
It's just a pure berserker mode.
Right.
Is kind of what it is.
And I mean, go to Walmart.
Yes. that inspires.
I'm being a bit facetious, but still.
Or being stuck behind somebody just a slow walker. You stick me behind somebody who walks slow.
Well, you're hitting close to home there, Zach.
In a public place. I am overcome with the rage to bite them.
Yeah.
Just to end them. And I don't know why. It's not inconveniencing my day that much, but it's just something about that. It just drives me insane.
Yeah. So don't, dear listeners, don't dismiss werewolfism as some crazy mythology or some crazy superstition, maybe from ancient times. It's just evolved and it's grown as we've seen. All these myths have morphed and wrapped themselves into each other to become this mythology that we have today that we play with in horror movies and whatnot. But there is truth in it. Yeah, okay, baby people aren't actually changing into freaking wolves, but how else would you explain this behavior?
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't.
Maybe I'm being too philosophical for good company right now, but
I don't think anyone's ever described me as good company. But oh, you mean the people listening?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, but crazy is out there. Understandable crazy is out there, and it's something that these people were dealing with at the time.
Well, guys, thank you for joining us today on this disgusting tale.
You're welcome.
Of werewolves and eating people and crime. Something else special that we're going to do for this episode and for the podcast is we're actually doing a giveaway with this episode.
A what?
We are giving away a replica Aztec death whistle. And if you're not sure what that is, it's a little skull whistle drudged up from the depths of hell.
Okay.
That sounds like a human screaming when you blow into it.
Stick that under your Christmas tree.
Exactly. It's the perfect gift for everybody, especially if there's somebody you don't like who has children. Give this to them. It's
or pets.
Perfect.
Or pets.
So it sounds a little something like this.
Oh dear.
Well, isn't that just fucking awful?
I'll sleep better tonight. Thank you very much.
So the way that you win this is you have to go to our page on Facebook. You have to like the page. You have to submit the keyword from this episode. And the keyword for this episode is shovel. Makes sense. Gravedigger, shovel. Thought it'd be kind of fun. So you'll send that to us on our Facebook page, and you will be entered into a drawing to win the Aztec death whistle.
So just message us the word shuffle.
Yeah.
So that I understand. Shovel. Like the page. Share the page.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, share the page. Like the page. Share the page. And send us this keyword of shovel.
Okay.
To our Facebook page for it.
Okay. Can I win?
Well, no, you're part of the podcast. Doesn't help us if you win.
I didn't know anything about this Aztec death whistle. Okay, I'm totally lying. I totally knew about the Aztec death whistle, but I want one.
Well, we'll get you one. We'll get you one for Christmas.
Instant hit at parties.
Oh yeah, everyone loves it. There's no way that's annoying at all, or anybody would not want to talk to you after playing that for a good 20 minutes.
Take one to your next bar mitzvah.
Yeah, or just on a Monday at work when you walk in, just to announce your arrival, just give a few blasts of the death whistle, and people know you're there.
Get off the elevator and.
Hell, when you get on the elevator, that'll give everyone off the elevator.
Social distancing won't be a problem.
No,
if you have your own Aztec death whistle.
Not with this thing. All right, guys. Well, hope you enjoyed the episode. Be sure to participate in the giveaway contest, and we will talk to you next time with another chilling tale.